Hello everyone, so today I'm here with Eoghan Clifford from NUI Galway, and he has many things to talk about relating to water technologies and other things. So if we could begin with Eoghan, could you introduce yourself and your organisation, please?
Hi, my name is Eoghan Clifford. I'm a senior lecturer at NUI Galway and I work in the civil engineering department. My own background is mostly in water and wastewater treatment, both I suppose in the sustainability aspects of water and wastewater treatment, but also in developing technologies in those areas. But I guess over the years our research has moved or has focused a lot on water quality, but moved a lot more into sustainability of how we actually protect and treat water and wastewater.
Okay, so can you explain what work you're doing that's of interest to Irish aquaculture producers, please?
So yeah, with myself and a number of colleagues, we got involved through initially through a research project funded by the Department of Agriculture here in Ireland, and subsequently by Bordis Givara and the European Maritime Fisheries Fund. And what we've been doing is looking at aquaculture facilities in Ireland from a number of points of view, one of them being internal process efficiency, and particularly focusing on things such as aeration, pumping, water treatment. And we've also been doing a lot of life cycle analysis work with those companies to try and figure out what parts of their process are particularly efficient and what parts of their process could they focus on in order to reduce emissions, particularly per kilo of food produced. So there's a number of areas we've been working with companies, and we've managed to have very good relationship with the Irish aquaculture industry over the last few years. And we're currently now involved in an EU project called Neptunus, which brings aquaculture industry in from quite a number of European countries.
Okay, so the work that you're doing with aquaculture producers, what kind of benefits are they seeing in terms of production?
Well, I think what they're seeing is that they're learning a lot more, hopefully, about their processes. They have a better understanding of which of their processes probably contribute most in terms of environmental impacts and where they can focus their efforts when they want to minimize their environmental impacts. I think actually what they're understanding a lot more about as well is what are their actual environmental impacts and how do they compare to other food producing sectors. And as I said, my own background is not in the aquaculture industry, but we have worked on site with a lot of these facilities, and we've been quite impressed actually with regard to how they've been able to limit their environmental impact in the areas that we measure when it comes to looking at overall food production of that sector. I think another area that we've worked heavily with them on is evaluating some of their technologies that they use on site. Whether it be aeration technologies or whether it be looking at RAS systems, for example, and how exactly we can improve their systems to enable them to meet what are extremely stringent discharge licenses that the sector does have. So that's an ongoing challenge for the sector, but it's something we are working with them at the moment. Okay,
so if there's a producer who isn't familiar with you but feels that they could benefit from your work, is that a service you can provide? How would they get involved with you in that way?
Yeah, we've actually probably either are working with or are in the process of trying to work with pretty much all the producers in Ireland, in aquaculture, but also in other areas of marine seafood production. How they can contact us directly, basically. I mean, what we try and do with our research funding is we try and involve companies so that A, I suppose it gives us a really good data set from which we can work, but B, it enables them to benefit from the type of work we're doing. We try and do, when we're collaborating with companies, we try to do it in that context rather than providing a direct commercial service as such, but it seems to work for the companies so far. It seems to have worked well that we are collaborating with.
Okay, and so I guess there are other people that provide this as a commercial service. I wonder if you can explain what the benefits are of working with you rather than a commercial consultant, perhaps.
Yeah, I think maybe the benefits of working with us is, and I mean, in one way, maybe it's a disadvantage, but I think its benefit is that we tend to work with companies over a long period of time, you know. So some of the work that we've done recently, we've been engaged in water quality monitoring and energy efficiency monitoring with companies over the space of a number of years. So that kind of, those large data sets really allow us to track exactly what's happening in those facilities, and gives the company a much deeper knowledge of how their processes are working. I think the other aspect, the commercial aspect, is very interesting as well, you know, where companies need a very rapid turnaround in terms of maybe an on-site audit, etc. And from our point of view, I suppose when we are working with companies, we prefer to work with them in the long term. And normally our relationships would last at least a number of months, if not a year or more, before we would start to produce results. So there is a, you know, it's a different focus, I guess, we have as a research organization, but we think it works for the companies as well.
Okay, great. Well, I think that's all of the questions I had for you. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I mean, we are, as you mentioned in one of your questions, we're really interested in working with any aquaculture facilities, but also in the general seafood sector. And I guess what we, in this new EU project, we have been contacting the sector, and what we are trying to do is to get as many companies on board. And within that project, we're actually gathering data from different companies, doing life cycle assessments, energy audits for those companies, and feeding back to them information that you know, will be useful in terms of their own processes. So I think any companies that are interested in participating would be delighted to work with them.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Georgia. Thanks for your time.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.